would almost bet, Adi, this is not intentional. No, I really don't believe this is intentional at all. But I also believe when it comes to this white and the gold trim from Usyk, I believe it has something to do with the Bible. I believe it's a religious thing, and I believe like that has been a lot of his driven motivation, his belief in Jesus Christ. And not just that, when he came here, the first thing he did was go to church, and he's been saying it the whole time during this whole promo.
You know, there's something, I've been lucky enough to have sat down with Rico a few times now in the lead up to this fight. When he talks, he makes you believe him. He speaks with such assuredness, such authority, where obviously, look, he's a big underdog, but you believe that something crazy could happen because of the way he talks.
Well, there is mental power there, and let's not forget he has displayed that. 12 years glory champion, defeating opponents after another, facing adversity, overcoming adversity, and yeah, that kind of creates confidence, right? So he speaks with confidence. I think that's what's resonating.
And ultimately, Malik, he gets kicked in the face. I mean, this guy is used to knees and kicks. I mean, there's no fear factor of Rico. Rico's coming in there, as he says, an undefeated, long reigning champion. He's coming in there to do some damage.
Yes, and one thing you just said, Adi, that make a lot of sense. He get kicked in the face a lot, right? And just being a kickboxer, so you'll say, well, he should be able to handle a punch. But the punches that come from Oleksandr Usyk are the punches you can't see. He hit you with the blindsided shot. So yeah, Rico may have seen a bunch of kicks, a bunch of whole different punches, but he's never seen nothing that's going to be coming from the direction of shots the way how Oleksandr Usyk throw punches.
This is very different for Rico, I'm guessing, Alistair. For his last 10 years, he walks into the ring in kickboxing as a favorite. He goes in there and we expect him to win. This will be the first time in a long time he's walking into a ring and nobody here expects him to win.
And that can be his beneficial factor. Yeah. That can work out for him.
The beautiful country of Egypt already brings so much history with it, and then being so close to the pyramids that have been here for thousands of years, and now we're in 2026 and still Egypt is writing history, and me and Oleksandr are a small part of that history with us headlining this main event on this card. So that's why I say I feel so thankful, and thank you to His Excellency and the whole organization. Of course, thank you to Oleksandr Usyk for accepting this challenge. So, like I said, I feel blessed. I'm excited. I put everything I have into this. So I can't wait for Saturday night. So, like I said, I feel blessed. I'm excited. I put everything I have into this. So I can't wait for Saturday night.
And you've said in the build-up as well, Rico, look, let's talk about the similarities with yourself and Usyk as great champions, rather than the differences. You're two gentlemen, it's been classy in the build-up, but what do you respect deep down about the man you're sharing the ring with as a character and a fighter?
No, 100%. I think just in general, if we look at the world, we are more looking at what makes you different from me.
Listen, I respect all my rivals because I know how it's. Because who training boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, you know, fights, it's amazing guys and the crazy guys. Yes, I respect all my rivals, but it's hard sport, bro. You training boxing?
I had one spar and that was it. So no.
Please, go try one training, one round. The real sparring.
I'll try.
Yes.
I'll try.
I respect all my rivals, bro.
Yeah. I need to look after my nose.
Don't worry.
I'll be out of a job.
Protect caps, no problem.
Thank you, Oleksandr.
Come my camp.
Can I, yeah?
Of course.
Okay, no problem. I'll take you up on that offer. Thank you.
I have no idea, you know, how many rounds this is fight. I'm not sad if 12 rounds, it's normal, but I don't know. When I have chance, I do it.
For you, Rico, I know you've seen this so many times in your mind, the fire and your motivation you spoke about all week. How do you believe you win this fight on Saturday? What's the best way for you to beat Oleksandr Usyk on Saturday?
For me, the first objective is to win. And how we're going to win, we'll see. If it's a knockout, it's a knockout. If it's a decision, it's a decision. So, and if it would come to a decision and I get the win, wow.
Bring something that you haven't seen before. Do you believe he can bring something that you possibly haven't seen before in a boxing ring? What are the big dangers?
Now it's only words. This is press conference and we speak a lot of, but my language will be in ring. You know. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. We'll see. It's God's will.
I ain't gonna beat a boxer in a boxing fight. It's not happening. I might beat some, do you know what I mean, at a certain level, but like I'm not gonna jump in and beat like a Usyk or a fucking Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. It's just not happening.
What do you make of it? You've sparred. Does he have any chance?
I mean, I've been sparring Rico for 10 years, so I know him well. He's like, I'm lucky enough to say that he's a friend of mine as well. Super good guy. I think anybody's got a chance, don't they? But I think Usyk's is a fuck of level. Rico's a big human being. He might cause Usyk some problems with his move. Like,
I've got a better question.
they move different.
Is Rico a better boxer than Francis Ngannou?
Yes.
Okay, well, Francis Ngannou dropped the unified heavyweight champion of the world in Tyson Fury. So doesn't sound very ludicrous anymore, does it? If Rico Verhoeven was going in with Francis Ngannou, would he be the favourite in a boxing match?
Yes, I think he would.
Okay, well, there you go.
I do think he would.
Look, you don't take anyone for granted. He's a big, strong guy, Verhoeven. He's in good shape. He's physical. He's game. You know, he's experienced in the kickboxing realm. You don't take anyone for granted, but
the Oleksandr Usyk versus Rico Verhoeven matchup is suddenly looking very possible, and the latest predictions from boxing experts could catch fans off guard. The first opinion comes from Tony Bellew, who joins Tom Aspinall to reveal an unexpected reason why Rico might be a serious threat.
Is Rico a better boxer than Francis Ngannou?
Yes.
Okay, well, Francis Ngannou dropped the unified heavyweight champion of the world in Tyson Fury. So doesn't sound very ludicrous anymore, does it? If Rico Verhoeven was going in with Francis Ngannou, would he be the favourite in a boxing match?
Yes, I think he would.
Okay, well, there you go.
I do think he would. But I am a little bit biased on Rico's side. But
well, if that's the case, then
I do think he would.
This guy's got a chance. Because Francis Ngannou gave Tyson Fury an absolute hell of a fight. I'm not saying he beat him. A lot of people do think he beat him, and I understand why they think he beat him.
Come on, you've been in the ring with Usyk though, like.
But Tony also believes that advantage won't last for long.
It makes no.
In his view, after a few rounds, Rico's approach could start to unravel, leaving him vulnerable as Usyk turns up the pace and begins taking control of the fight.
The guy's a big lump and he can punch. Like, I'm interested to know.
Does he land a punch against Oleksandr Usyk?
Absolutely. Do you want to bet? He lands a
No, he'll land a punch.
He will land punches on Oleksandr Usyk. He'll be actually took back in the first 2 to 3 rounds by his style and what'll happen.
Do you agree?
I'm not sure.
I do. I think. See, this is only from my experience of sparring boxers, which obviously sparring fighting is different, especially at that level. So there's a little disclaimer for you. But so boxers, right? They've been used to fighting someone who's come through the amateur program in boxing, and they've all got a pretty, generally speaking,
having spent time training and sparring with Rico,
throw 1, 2, and
Tom feels that abandoning a pure boxing approach and using a less predictable game plan could give Rico a chance to create problems for Usyk, while making the fight far more exciting for fans.
basic conventional stuff.
We're all taught the basics.
They'll all do similar stuff. They'll have 50 amateur fights, 100 amateur fights, 30 pro fights, and they're all doing similar stuff. Now, when I've sparred boxers in the past, the success that I've had, which is very limited, you know, I'll hold my hands up and say I'm not going out there and pinging like professional boxing and boxing spar, because I'm not, but the success that I have is when I do stuff that they're not used to. I'll be miles out range, I'll dive in and do weird stuff that they're not. I won't do the traditional 1-2. So Usyk has a chance of doing that. Sorry, Rico has a chance of doing that against Usyk.
Then comes the real surprise.
He's not
Rico joked that if everything starts falling apart in his corner, he may even consider throwing a head kick around the later rounds. And obviously, that would break the rules, but
no, I love it. If everything goes south, I'll just throw a high kick in the 8th or 9th round. It's logical because they do not know me. They do not know the story. They do not know who I am. So then it's up to me to give them a little bit of context, like what I've done within the kickboxing sport. The WBC also has a Muay Thai kickboxing division, so they understand my credentials, and that's how this fight came about. And that's how they sanctioned it. And then again, they can still be critical, but it's not up to me. It's just like, I take it as it comes. You ready? Because I'm coming for those belts.
Matchups like this are often surrounded by talk of predetermined outcomes, but Usyk is not the type of fighter to follow that script. He references Anthony Joshua stopping his opponent inside 6 rounds, and argues that Usyk would probably get the finish even sooner, simply because the challenge would be far too straightforward for him.
He's a bit better than a novice, but he'll do things that novices would offset you. When you're a world champion or when you're a world-class fighter and boxer, the worst thing you can do is get in the ring with a novice because they make you look stupid. It's like Tom, if he gets in the ring with a mixed martial artist and he hasn't got a clue, he'll do things that'll go, what are you doing? But they'll take him by surprise. Things that you just raw novices would do. And I think that's Rico's best chance and opportunity, really, to do some crazy stuff. Don't kick. I'm not advising you to kick, son, don't kick. But just come and square on angles that you won't really expect. Taking risks from so far out,
for Teddy Atlas,
stupid,
the real debate is not whether Usyk wins, but how long he decides to keep the fight going.
And it'll be
Atlas argues that Rico's defense simply will not be strong enough to contain him. He believes Usyk will punch through the guard, pile on non-stop combinations, and gradually take complete control. According to his prediction, the contest ends quickly, with Usyk securing the stoppage roughly midway through the 4th round.
You know, is there some agreement there? People were wondering that, I think, for a while with Joshua and Paul. You know, was an agreement to move around for a few rounds, then take the gloves off and go at it. And of course, Joshua, I think, stopped him in the 6th round, if I remember correctly, whatever it was. But a lot of people didn't think it was go that long. We got that one right. We had the over. I think it was 3 rounds. We had the over in that one. But Usyk's not the kind of guy.
Usyk against Rico has fans and analysts agreeing on one thing. It is the kind of matchup that could keep everyone locked in from start to finish. Max Kellerman compares it to a classic underdog story, arguing that if Rico can survive the full fight and hear the final bell, that alone would be a major achievement. Mike Coppinger shares a similar view, saying that even as the clear outsider, if Rico can remain competitive and claim a good share of the rounds, he will walk away with plenty of respect.
It's like having a heavy bag in front of you. Usyk can put punches together. He'll take what you give him. You know, he'll go to the body, he'll split the guard with the uppercut. You know, there's so many things he could do. And again, it's going to be not can he do it? Does he want to do it? Does he want to do it, and how fast
Joining the
does
debate,
he want to do it?
Malik Scott,
Does he want
who
to
has
do it when
previously
bell
shared the
rings
ring
and
with
go after?
Alexander
Then he
Usyk,
breaks the guy
disagrees
down. I
with the
think the
Rocky-style
over-under is
comparison.
3.5, right?
He
Something
argues
like
that it does not accurately reflect the challenge Usyk presents. In Scott's opinion, Rico would be stepping in against one of the greatest heavyweights of this era. He believes that if Rico wants any genuine chance of competing, he must adopt the same relentless attitude shown by Derek Chisora, fighting through every obstacle, emptying the tank, and refusing to back down from the opening bell to the final moment.
Sly stood his ground and made something great. Rocky loses the fight, but by going the distance, he really wins, right? So obviously, if Rico Verhoeven somehow actually beats Usyk, he will have pulled off an all-time upset. But short of that, Mike, what's a win for Verhoeven here?
Max, I think Verhoeven, obviously, if he can hurt Usyk at any juncture in the fight, that's a win. If he can make it into the second half of the fight, past round 6,
As the
that's a win
potential
for me.
fight draws
And
nearer,
just being
the
overall
discussion has
competitive
started
and
to
showing his
change.
boxing skills.
The focus
I
is
think
no
people need to
longer on
remember,
whether Rico can
Rico
pull off the
Verhoeven is
upset,
no joke as
but
a
on what a
fighter.
respectable performance would look like if he falls short. Shane Mosley believes most people already see Usyk as the clear favorite. However, he says that if Rico can make it deep into the fight, handle the pressure, and remain competitive for several rounds, that alone would be enough to gain genuine respect from boxing fans and experts alike.
Rocky, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, the character, his record was like in movie land, 56-22 with 54 knockouts or something like that in movie land. Usyk is not movie land. Like I keep saying, Rico is going against, to me, probably can be considered one of the best fighters of all time in every weight division. He can have some good moments. If I was him, I would go in with the Derek Chisora mentality, make Usyk rush his offense, don't
Adding
allow
his
him
voice to
think,
the discussion,
because if Usyk
combat
is-
sports
if-
veteran
if
Alistair
he
Overeem
allow you to
believes the
think
biggest mystery in
and
this
give you time,
matchup is
that
what
means
makes
he's
it so
gonna destroy you.
fascinating. He notes that Rico enters with years of experience from a striking-based background. On the other side stands Usyk, a master of elite boxing. Overeem describes Usyk as a fighter who solves puzzles in real time, studying opponents, exposing weaknesses, and making adjustments as the fight unfolds. In his view, that ability will challenge Rico's mental toughness, determination, and decision-making skills once the pressure starts to build.
Let's be honest. I mean, you go on to Egypt, you're fighting in front of the pyramids, like you already won.
No, if he gets stretched in the first round, that's not a win.
My thing is this, there's no way he can win this fight just because we watch Usyk fight against other big guys that's more than 270 that actually box for a living, and they.
So what would you say is a Rocky win? A win where you don't actually get the W, but coming out of the fight, you're like, okay.
All right, I'll say this, because I felt like Jake Paul had a win against AJ, right? You lasted more than 4 rounds.
Alistair Overeem believes the pressure in this matchup would actually fall more heavily on Alexander Usyk.
Because Usyk ain't be
In
joking
his
and
view,
playing around with
losing to a
That's not
fighter
his
known
DNA.
primarily for kickboxing would create serious questions around Usyk's reputation. When asked whether Rico is entering with nothing to lose, Overeem largely agrees. He explains that simply sharing the ring with a world-class boxing specialist is already a significant accomplishment for Rico. With no championship titles at stake, a defeat would do little to hurt his status if he is simply outperformed. However, Overeem argues that if Usyk were to come up short, the impact on his legacy would be enormous and could completely reshape how many people in boxing remember his career.
The way I see Usyk is as a gigantic code breaker. So he is somebody who just deciphers people and breaks codes. And he just sees Rico as, hey, this is like an unknown code. big gentleman, 125 kg, so there's like a weight advantage there. He is undefeated, so it's like a nice resume. And let's just see how I can break this code under these boxing
Many experts
rules.
believe that if Rico can simply get beyond the midway stage of the fight, he will already gain a great deal of respect.
X-factor, I think,
Alistair
is what makes this
Overeem
fight
has
beautiful.
described Oleksandr Usyk as the type of fighter who figures opponents out methodically instead of rushing for an early finish. Tony Bellew, who has experienced Usyk firsthand, echoes that view. He says Usyk does far more than throw basic punches. He studies patterns, identifies weaknesses, and then begins to increase the damage. Bellew predicts the contest could remain competitive for several rounds before Usyk eventually takes full control, possibly around the 8th round, and starts showcasing the level that has made him one of boxing's elite talents.
So there's a big chance of him being embarrassed, but let's be honest, Usyk has embarrassed many fighters and outclassed many fighters. So for him, for his first fight to be outclassed by an Usyk is not a shame. And actually people are expecting that. So, and that is his goal to kind of course, he's coming into this fight to win the fight, but even if he is able to
sharing his prediction, Gareth A. Davies believes Rico could have some success in the opening stages, but he does not expect that trend to continue. Davies is backing Oleksandr Usyk to score a stoppage in the later rounds, placing his strongest prediction around the 9th. He argues that once Rico is forced to match Usyk's tempo, the pressure will gradually begin to wear him down. According to Davies, Usyk's movement, precise jab, and ability to exploit defensive habits will slowly create openings, leading to a decisive finish as the fight progresses.
I think this fight will be very exciting for the 6, 7, maybe 8 rounds it goes. I think Oleksandr Usyk will not want to go in there and really, he never really goes in look to do damage straight away and early. I think he'll have a look at Rico Verhoeven, he'll download what he's doing, he'll figure out what the feints will do to him, which side he'll draw him on, you know, he'll hit certain parts of the body. He's going to show you feints that make you do certain things and go in certain strategies and formations.
Looking at the matchup closely, Gareth A. Davies believes Oleksandr Usyk's movement around the ring could become a huge issue from start to finish. He points out that Tyson Fury, a much larger fighter with excellent ring intelligence, still found himself beaten by Usyk on 2 occasions. In Davies' view, this contest could follow a very similar path. Once the fight moves beyond the middle rounds, the momentum may begin shifting heavily toward Usyk. And if that happens, Rico could find himself being gradually worn down and picked apart round after round.
And how does Usyk win? I think Usyk stops him, and I think he stops him between rounds 7 and 10. If you're making me do round betting, I'd go round 8 or 9, maybe round 9. I think it'll be good and competitive in the first couple of rounds, but I think Verhoeven will be dismayed and disorientated and discombobulated by Usyk's footwork and the amount of
Fight
focus
fans around the world are waiting to see how this showdown plays out, and the first predictions are already starting to emerge. Adam Catterall and Nick Peake believe Rico could take a different route, using a unique approach that might catch plenty of people off guard. They feel his strongest opportunity will come in the early stages of the fight, particularly during the first few rounds, when Usyk is still figuring out his movement and timing. But once the contest settles in and the rounds begin to stack up, they expect the difference in experience, ring awareness, and timing to become impossible to ignore.
That's very, very clever. And you'd look at how clever Fury is in the ring, how good his IQ is.
They believe the biggest obstacle comes from the major difference between kickboxing range and boxing range.
For the first fight.
They argue that even with strong skills and proven durability, Rico could find it difficult to dictate the distance against a fighter who has mastered the craft. Usyk's talent for controlling space and keeping opponents exactly where he wants them is viewed as one of his greatest strengths. In their opinion, that is the point where the momentum could gradually begin moving toward one side of the fight.
Rico will throw differently. He's not an orthodox boxer, is he? So I think from an offensive point of view, it will be interesting to see how he throws his shots. I think his chances are early in this fight, as early as possible, rounds 1, 2 and 3, whilst Usyk is trying to figure out those patterns. I think from a defensive point of view, mate, I think he's going to struggle with range. We're talking about a kickboxer here. Anybody that's done any of this, whether you've been on the mats, done a bit of sparring or whatever, you'll know full well that kickboxing range and boxing range are two completely different ranges.
Have both weighed in on the matchup. Hoost believes the challenge is extremely tough for Rico, largely because he does not have the deep boxing experience needed for a fight at this level. Aerts also highlights the physical side of the contest, pointing out that Oleksandr Usyk brings greater strength, size, and overall presence into the ring. In his view, that makes an already difficult assignment even tougher for Rico to overcome.
I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with one, his technical ability and how tough he is, but ultimately this is a massive task. The odds are absolutely bang on, you're right, because he is fighting a master, and I just think that range is going to be the thing that he's going to struggle with, because Usyk is the king of range.
That is something Peter Aerts has also emphasized. Together with Ernesto Hoost, he agrees that the platform and attention surrounding this event are enormous for Rico. At the same time, both believe Usyk brings a much broader range of experience into the ring, and that advantage could become increasingly important as the fight moves forward. In their view, the deeper the contest goes, the more those differences may start to reveal themselves.
Usyk against Rico Verhoeven in Egypt, May 23.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it?
I think it's gonna be very difficult for Rico.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that experience in boxing.
Yeah, true.
And Usyk is really good, I think, and especially he's not
right now,
even that
boxing
big,
fans everywhere are focused on Rico as he tries to show why he accepted such a tough test and whether the gamble will be worth it. Peter Aerts openly admits that Usyk enters as the clear favorite, but both he and Ernesto Hoost believe Rico should not be counted out completely. They point out that fights like this can change in an instant, and surprises are always possible. With Rico's physical strengths and the progress he has made with his boxing skills, they feel there is still a realistic chance for him to shock people, or, at the very least, deliver a highly competitive performance.
Okay, well, let me put it like this. When I saw him fight with
Tyson Fury.
With Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but Tyson Fury is...
yeah, okay. I never saw Tyson Fury.
He's bigger than us, much bigger.
But anyway, he did very good. I was surprised. I think it's a big chance for Rico.
Yeah.
But he have to do his very best.
Yeah, but the experience this Usyk had more than 300 amateur fights.
Exactly.
And unbeaten as a professional, so I think it's a big thing. But for Holland, they're gonna put Holland on the map too, you know? When I put my money, I put Usyk, but when you make good, one punch can be over, you know? You never fight is fight, you know?
Fight is a fight.
Yeah. So
and so I hope that he will do good. And if he show himself and if he really show that he's a good, that he evolved in the boxing and everything, I will be very satisfied.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think physically he can do it, you know, because he's always fit.
He's
Rico,
always
you know?
fit. True.
But I think Usyk is the better boxer. But you never know. No, fighting is fighting. So I hope the best.
So after hearing
So
all these
good luck,
opinions and
Rico.
forecasts, one thing stands out above everything else.
Good luck, and I hope
No
you do
one can
good.
say with complete
And do
confidence
your
what will
best.
happen when
Also.
Usyk and Rico finally share the ring. That uncertainty is exactly what has fans so invested. Everyone will be watching for the same reason, to find out whose prediction holds up when the action begins. What do you think happens when these two finally meet? Drop your prediction in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss more fight analysis, expert opinions, and the latest updates as fight night moves closer. This video is created for informational, educational, and commentary purposes to keep the boxing audience updated on news, opinions, predictions, and discussions surrounding the sport. Any referenced content, statements, or materials are used under the principles of fair use for reporting, analysis, criticism, and public discussion. We have also used AI-assisted tools to help make the content more unique, engaging, and informative for viewers. The views discussed in this video belong to their respective sources and are presented for audience awareness and conversation. No copyright infringement is intended.